Today we're going to talk about the entry into the hammer.
Let's go!
So on the entry in the hammer, you don't want to focus on just the speed of entry. That's not the main focus when it comes to the entry in the hammer. You actually want to think about opposing a force, which is, this is going to be my representation of my hammer, is I'm opposing the force at the end of the hammer or at the end of the wire, which would be, of course, the hammer, right? So the main focus should be starting the tempo of the throw, so it can be a little bit more aggressive, maybe when you get more used to the timing. But usually what you want to focus on is getting against the ball at entry and not just thinking about just pure speed and not getting against the ball at entry, okay? One thing I also want to cover is where do we start applying power into the hammer on entry, okay? This is how I talk about my hammer when I apply power. So I'm a right-handed thrower, so just do the opposite if you're a lefty. Everything on your right side is your side to work. Everything on the left side is the hammer side to work, okay? So what I think about on the right side is a bike going downhill. Everything on my left side is a bike going uphill. So what do I mean by my right side is a bike going downhill and the left side is a bike going uphill? It's easier to pedal and go faster when a bike's going downhill, which is my right side, and it's harder to pedal uphill if you're going uphill, which is my left side. So usually when you see a hammer wind, what you like to see is, this is my right side. I'm gonna try and come back as far as possible. I've caught the hammer, and now I'm working the hammer down. So that's pedaling downhill. Everything on the left is very, very hard. So you just kind of want to be almost a continuation of your downhill on the left side, okay? So it would be applying power here as soon as possible, so I'm catching it as far back as possible, and then letting it continue to my left side. There's no work happening on my left side. What happens is if you keep working on your left side, you usually see this, which could be a pull, okay? Pull. So this is me pulling my shoulder through, okay? So think about at about the belly button or your zero. So right in the middle, this is where you roughly stop applying power and let the hammer keep going. On the left side, you still want to maintain a good solid posture to let the hammer go free. Don't just let yourself kind of cave in and give into the hammer, because what can happen is that once you go into the actual throw, so you're coming over, what we do here with, when you're coming over to the entry, you're giving into the hammer and you're not able to get against it, which can drag you out of position, okay? So that's gonna cover all bases as to what the wind should look like, okay? So the first thing that I think about when I'm entering into the wind is gonna be kind of a higher entry, so I'm kind of throwing that ball out. So I'm throwing that ball out so the ball can come back, okay? So the reason why I'm not doing this is kind of could be stylistic. This is kind of how I enter into the hammer, is I throw the ball out, let it come down, and then I start to apply the power, okay? Another way you could do it, this is a style. You can do it down the middle, just on the right side. Again, this is just kind of a style, this is kind of how I do it, okay? So I keep the ball on my left side, okay? One hand, throw it up and out. Let the momentum kind of come down by itself, naturally come back down, swing, okay? So I do 2 winds and then the turns, okay? So this is how it will look more put together. So up, down, wind, apply, and then let it go, okay? So notice that I wasn't trying to go too hard on my entry. Again, the goal of the entry is not to go super fast. The goal of the entry is to get against the ball and then carry it over. If you're doing a 4-turn, then it should be even slower, just because it's kind of a jog into a sprint, the 3-turn being a sprint, the 4-turn just kind of breaking the ice and kind of doing a jog into the sprint, right? So you don't want to go too fast unless or until you're able to maintain or handle that speed. And again, the goal of the entry is not to establish speed, but it's to establish connection early. And it's kind of what you're thinking about when you're doing your winds, is establishing that pull or that tug. That's kind of how I explain connection, is that pull against you. So here I have no connection. Here I have connection because there's a hammer or weight tugging against me, and now I can actually feel the hammer, okay? So that's kind of what I want to establish at the very, very start of the entry. So I establish that connection, that tension as soon as possible. So it's as soon as the ball's starting to come down, I'm starting to feel the hammer, I'm starting to feel it, my arms are long, I'm letting the ball just kind of stay long as possible, maintaining my pressure through my legs, staying in contact with the ground with my legs until roughly 90-ish degrees, or if you possibly can, a little bit farther past that, and then we start to step over. The entry, or the first step, you should kind of feel it just naturally snap you over and not try and go feet first or really trying to work into my left side. So you'll feel that, you'll see this pull, which you have no connection. You'll have a false sense of connection because you feel pressure, but that's because your body's smart. Your body's always looking to get against something or sit against something because it doesn't want to fall naturally. So your body's natural reaction is to pull and feel tension, but it'll feel here. So the entire throw will be a drag, and eventually what you'll see is a pattern, kind of going as a J rather than going straight down the middle. Okay, so apply power on the right, let the left side go. Okay, so again, you're applying power on the right side as soon as possible, let the left side go. Okay, do not force the left side. The left side will naturally happen. If you're having trouble with left on entry, one thing you can do is left-handed drills to kind of just feel what it's supposed to feel like. Okay, so left-handed drill, just so it's how it's supposed to feel like on entry. Okay, that's one of the things you can do. And again, this is just talking about the entry, not talking about the turns. But if you're having a hard time staying down on the ground, that's something you could do to just focus on that one aspect of the throw. Okay, so one more time, I'm gonna put it all together. So I'm gonna throw, this is my ball on my left side, okay? I'm throwing the ball up, down, up again, push down, and long, okay? Long and strong to the left side, all right? So that's the entry. I'm gonna do it one more time for you guys. This is the last time, okay? The ball's on the left. Again, I'm applying power only on my right side, not on my left, because left means pull, okay? So right side through, and then just let that left side go long. Up, down, up, push down, push, long, and then snap over, okay? This is Coach Frankie Martinez. I just covered the wind of the entry into the hammer. Make sure you guys are following all my social media on YouTube at Frankie Martinez Throws, and on Instagram at Coach Frankie Martinez. See you guys next time.